Good evening, I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing. Tonight, Canada's first Indigenous Governor General steps into her new role.
I pledge to meet Canadians in all provinces and territories to learn firsthand what people are facing,
the historic moments and the complex task ahead as this country grapples with its colonial legacy.
It's a silver medal for Canada.
Canada sparkles on the water in Tokyo, the secrets of our success. Plus, the final push to reach unvaccinated Canadians.
We have to be really careful about lumping everybody into one box. There's actually just a wide range of reasons why people are vaccine hesitant.
And is business travel bouncing back?
There is really nothing like being in person with somebody.
How companies are weighing travel risks and rewards. This is The National. Another Olympic medal for Canada. Tonight, Kylie Masse grabbing silver in the women's 100-meter backstroke. It's Canada's 5th podium finish at these Games. We'll head to Tokyo in a few minutes. But first, Canada's new Governor General, and many hope a new opportunity to move towards reconciliation. Mary Simon is the first Indigenous person and just the 5th woman to be Governor General in the 154 years since Confederation. Her address today, sweeping in scope, passionate, personal, at times humorous. Simon brings a vast wealth of knowledge and experience to the Governor General's office, from politics to diplomacy to the environment. Here's Ashley Burke with more on who she is and what she hopes to achieve.
An installation ceremony like no other. A tribute to Mary Simon's Inuit culture and a sign of historic change. Simon replaces the Chief Justice, who filled in for 6 months after Julie Payette resigned in disgrace.
Not every day is this formal.
The former Arctic ambassador and advocate for Indigenous rights now formally taking over during a critical time, as Canada reckons with its dark past of residential schools. With her husband by her side, Simon promised to work against climate change, advocate for mental health, and help repair the relationship between Indigenous peoples and the Crown.
I will strive to build bridges across the diverse backgrounds and cultures that reflect our great country's uniqueness and promise.
She spoke about growing up on the land in northern Quebec. Her message also delivered in Inuktitut, another first.
My Inuk name is Inuk, and Prime Minister, it means bossy little old lady.
A lady who then tackled her lack of French head-on with humility.
Le plus élevé. Sometimes I have a little trouble pronouncing, but I'm learning.
Her words today about replacing hurt with hope, a message in keeping with the man who chose Simon for the job and his commitment to reconciliation.
We need your vision of a stronger Canada for everyone.
Sing like a bird to the oncoming light.
It's a moment her sister never thought could happen.
I thought of my mom and dad and my grandmother, and they would have been very proud of her.
Simon said growing up, it took time to realize her voice has power. Now she plans to use it in one of the highest offices in the land to heal wounds of the past.
Ashley, you're at Rideau Hall, where the Governor General has moved in, unlike her predecessor. What's the significance of that?
This is a sign of a return to normalcy. This 5,000 square foot living quarters, it's been sitting empty for more than 3 years, gathering dust, and about $40,000 has been spent on routine maintenance to get this space ready for the new Governor General.
And of course, this is Governor General entering office at a challenging time, the push towards reconciliation, but also what's happening within her own office.
There's a fractured workplace culture that's in a period of transition, and as well, the institution's public image, it's been damaged. But Mary Simon, her story has told us that she does not shy away from a challenge.
All right, Ashley, thank you.
Thank you.
And this was an emotional day in Simon's hometown of Kuujjuaq, a community filled with pride. Tonight, Juanita Taylor brings us their voices, their memories, and their hopes.
The Right Honorable Mary May Simon. It was an emotional moment for these people in Kuujjuaq when one of their own officially became Canada's Governor General. That pride has been building up since Simon's announcement just over 2 weeks ago.
She's a role model to all of us. A lot of pride. We're very proud of her. I think it's an amazing progress for the country of Canada to have an Indigenous Inuk woman in the role with all her background in politics for the last few decades. And she's been working for Inuit rights for a long time, so I've been looking up to her.
And people who know Her Excellency, Governor General Mary Simon, weren't surprised either about this new chapter in her life.
Because I know this is coming sooner or later, because we've been talking about it for quite a number of years. And she is the second person in command, I would say, from the Queen. So we have it made as an Inuit.
Watt grew up with Simon and her family, and this is the home that Simon's father built, where she and her 7 siblings were raised.
It was in her blood, the way she wanted to lead or fix things. You know, she was very responsible, a person. Even as a teenager, she was very responsible. She had a very good heart.
Madge Pomelo says her sister will work for not just Inuit, but for all Canadians. And she's hoping for a family reunion with the new Governor General of Canada soon, who she says likes to visit during berry picking season. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Kuujjuaq, Nunavik.
Let's head to Japan now, where not only is the Olympic flame burning bright, but so are Canada's fortunes at the Olympic pool. Tuesday is already a silver day in Tokyo.
Kylie Masse in the driver's seat right now with about 12 meters to go, but here comes Kaylee McEwen, the Australian, and they are head-to-head. McEwen might have a slight edge, and she takes it. Masse the silver.
What a finish. Kylie Masse second in the women's 100-meter backstroke. Breathless afterward, she said it was an honor to represent her country.
This year, especially when no one's able to be here, I can feel the love and support from home, and I couldn't be happier to be able to bring a medal.
And that medal is Canada's 5th of the Games. Masse won bronze in the same event in Rio in 2016.
And another strong technique, and that's going to be a Wazadi for Klimkait.
Surely.
That is a bronze medal for Canada.
And there is Jessica Klimkait becoming the first Canadian woman to win an Olympic medal in judo. A history-making moment, but still not the finish she was hoping for.
Obviously, I came here with gold in mind, coming off of the World Championships, being on top of the podium, but I'm just happy that I was able to collect myself enough to push myself in the bronze medal match and come away with a medal anyways.
And Canadians were among the triathletes who had to wait around today after rain delayed the start of their event. In the end, Canadian Emily Kretz finished 15th. Well, first it was the pandemic. Now weather is making these games more complicated for athletes in Japan. Thomas Dagla is in Yokohama tonight. And Thomas, just another level of uncertainty at these games.
The past few days, Ian, for the athletes, the trouble has been with the heat and humidity. Now in some parts, it's the rain and wind. We're at Yokohama Stadium, which is normally home to Japanese professional baseball, but today it is temporarily playing host to Canada and Mexico. The bronze medal game, Canada's chance to win a first ever Olympic women's softball medal. It has been raining on and off, a bit of a breeze here, but it is further north where the storm is causing some trouble, forcing Olympic organizers to reschedule some events.
The rain started early, with the forecast calling for plenty of it, potentially combined with high winds for a potent mix of disruptive weather, forcing Olympic organizers to close rooftop broadcast positions. Heavy rain recently caused flooding at the media center, and there are fears it could happen again.
It is still typhoon in Japan in our interpretation, so still have to maintain your precautions.
The tropical cyclone known as Nepartak formed off the coast of Japan before moving in near Tokyo. It's typhoon season here, so those living on the coast near the surfing venue knew just what to do. Install storm shutters and look on the bright side. I hope it won't cause any damage, but for surfers, part of me feels a little excited because the waves are good when there's a typhoon. For outdoor events where high winds could wreak havoc, the incoming storm meant a scramble to reschedule competition in rowing and archery for the first time in Olympic history. Canada's women's softball squad prepared for a bronze medal game, hoping weather wouldn't postpone play because team members are booked on flights out of the country tomorrow.
Knowing that there's still an opportunity to win a medal for our country and make history, I mean, that has to be the first thing on everyone's minds.
The first thing may be on their minds, Thomas, but lots of other things on their minds. They have to deal with the weather. They have to, hopefully win their game. They have to hope they make their flight tomorrow. How are things looking?
Well, there's no sign of a rain delay, Ian. That is good news for Team Canada because, as you can imagine, there are fewer flights than there normally would be going in and out due to COVID. Just gives you a sense of the added complication when events are postponed due to weather, with that added factor, the pandemic.
All right. Thanks, Thomas.
Maggie Mac Neil certainly is in the hunt with 15 meters to go. She might have a slight edge. She's certainly got a chance at a medal. Here they come. There's the touch.
All right, in case you haven't guessed, that is Maggie Mac Neil's family reacting to her gold medal win in the women's 100-meter butterfly last night. Canada's first gold of these games, and that it comes in the pool is perhaps not a surprise. You may remember in Rio 5 years ago, Canadian women won 6 medals in swimming. And as Adrian Arsenault explains, the hope is this year will be even better.
As you watch the Canadian women on the pool decks over the next week, keep a couple things in mind. They're the youngest team on the circuit. None of them has competed in an international competition since 2019. And thinking any of that is a problem is a mistake.
And they're in the pool.
Maggie Mac Neil is a world champion, but a first-time Olympian. And she has developed an extraordinary ability to just speed up.
And Mac Neil touches for Canada.
She was in 7th place as she made that turn in the 100-meter butterfly, and she just charged her way to first. And for all the heart in the Canadian section of the stands, we're all learning that without thunderous roars from crowds, there aren't a lot of audio cues for athletes. And apparently, if you're the gold medalist, you don't always realize it right away.
And she can't see it. Now she can.
Especially if, like Maggie, you're not wearing your contact lenses and you can't see the ball. Her shocked face, that's the picture of the day.
That says it all.
Gold medalist and Olympic champion.
This was Canada's standout Olympic moment so far. The first gold from a now double medalist.
I just can't believe that it happened, and because that's what everyone dreams of when they start swimming, so it's just incredible.
I feel like there might be Canadians out there Googling you right now, what are they going to find? What do you want people to know about who you are?
I would just say I'm a really fun person that likes to take things seriously when it comes down to it, but swimming is my job and it's what I enjoy doing the most.
Swimming analyst Byron McDonald says the good student she is academically helps in the pool, and she has something else that's a huge advantage.
The big question is, why is Maggie Mac Neil so fast? She's got an amazing kick. She has great flexibility in her hips, her knees, and her ankles. And you can't teach a lot of that. That's a lot of natural gift. If you don't have real good flexibility there, you're not going to be a great kicker. And if you're not a great kicker, you're not going to win a gold medal. She's really going to drive a powerful kick to the wall.
She and the other 15 women also have the entire Canadian swimming machine behind them, as dedicated to data and analytics as pro sports teams. The high-performance director for Swimming Canada says the pandemic bought time to finesse each stroke. The young, ultra-competitive group pushed each other.
There's young experience. And what I mean by that is we have 20, 21-year-old women that are still relatively young when you compare them to other teams. It's relatively young experience with younger experience that's being gained along the way.
Penny Alexiak is basically on her lifetime best time performance. Great.
And it's working. Both Penny Alexiak and Summer McIntosh, the phenom and her teenage protege, both pulling off personal bests in their most recent heats. There is, it seems, much more to come. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, Tokyo.
Here at home, smoke from wildfires continues to be a concern in many places across the country. Environment Canada has issued statements about poor air quality from BC to Quebec, where the pollution is so bad that smog warnings are in effect. The agency says smoke plumes could reach southern Ontario and then drop to ground level. That could pose a risk to children, seniors, and those with health issues. To a developing international story now. The people of Tunisia under curfew tonight, ordered by their president a day after he fired the prime minister and froze parliament. As Tessa Arcilia reports, Tunisians are angry at the state of their economy and the collapse of their healthcare system during the pandemic.
Touted as the sole success story of the Arab Spring revolutions, Tunisia's fledgling democracy is plunged into political and economic turmoil, its biggest crisis in 10 years, after President Kais Saied removed Prime Minister Hicham Michichi and suspended parliament for 30 days, some calling it a coup. Condemned as an attack on democracy by his rivals, but greeted by his supporters with celebrations. Said's move comes after recent anti-government protests sparked by a surge in COVID-19 cases and a collapsing healthcare system. But this expert says growing public resentment over unemployment, corruption and repression made the country a tinderbox waiting to explode.
Tunisia has got, a young population, many of them are highly educated but unable to find jobs. It's different factors, a socioeconomic resentment. But basically recently, what made things even worse is the catastrophic management of the COVID-19 crisis.
Inside hospital wards, the desperation is as dire as in the streets. There's a complete lack of oxygen, says this doctor. We feel alone in this war. Tunisia has one of the highest COVID-19 related death rates per capita in the world. Only 7% of the almost 12 million population are fully vaccinated. This woman says she came here to protest the collapse of healthcare and education and the government's failure. She came to fight for her son's future. When Tunisians had their Arab Spring, they called for work, freedom, national dignity. Aspirations that, 10 years on, still feel so out of reach for many, as they now watch the fate of their fragile democracy unfold. Tessa Arcilia, CBC News, London.
The U.S. president met with Iraq's prime minister today to announce the American combat mission to fight ISIS will transition to an advisory role by the end of the year. As Judy Trin tells us, Biden is also offering to help Iraq fight a different battle, the pandemic.
I'm honored to welcome the Prime Minister.
President Biden announced that the United States will be shifting gears in Iraq after 18 years in the region.
Our role is just to be available to continue to train, to assist, to help.
Troops first arrived after 9/11 with the launch of the so-called War on Terror. They left in 2011, but returned in 2014 to help fight the Islamic State.
I'm heavy here in Washington.
Iraq's prime minister says it's now time for the Americans to leave.
American, they help Iraq. Together we fight and defeat ISIS.
This is the second time in 4 months that Biden has announced a drawdown of troops. The first was in April in regards to Afghanistan.
Bin Laden is dead and Al-Qaeda is degraded in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's time to end the forever war.
Since that decision, the Taliban have overrun the northern region of Afghanistan. But in Iraq, the government has the upper hand. ISIS sleeper cells are still operating, and even launched a suicide bombing that killed 35 people in Baghdad last week. But arrests were quickly made.
So I think this is, smart diplomacy.
This former Marine agrees with the policy shift.
But then it also makes sense that as the Islamic State's capabilities have been degraded, that you would see a diminished U.S. troop presence. Well, I think it just further shows that, the Iraqi people and the American people are aligned, that we are allies.
In the meantime, Biden is committing to help Iraq in a different fight against COVID-19, donating 500,000 doses of vaccine to a country where less than 4% of people are fully vaccinated. Today, Iraq recorded more than 12,000 new infections, its highest daily total yet. Judy Trin, CBC News, Washington.
Officials in Florida have identified the last victim from that collapsed condo building near Miami.
Nothing we can say or do will bring back these 98 angels who left behind grieving families, beloved friends, loved ones across this community and across the world.
Among the dozens dead are 4 Canadians. The agonizing search for survivors gripped the world for weeks. The building collapsed a little over a month ago as residents slept, triggering one of the largest emergency operations in the state's history. We have exclusive new details on a story affecting thousands of Canadian families. They paid a Toronto company to store potentially life-saving stem cells. The company now says all the samples were destroyed nearly 3 years ago, but several clients of the Cord Blood Bank of Canada tell CBC News they weren't made aware of that, and some say they were still charged for storage. We should tell you the company has launched 2 defamation suits against CBC News. Angelina King is following the story.
This was put aside for your future and for your well-being.
Shannon Callahan spent about $3,500 to store her daughter Sarah's umbilical cord blood after she was born. Callahan says it was an easy decision. There's a history of cancer in the family, and the stem cells in the cord blood could potentially help treat Sarah if needed. But now she's wondering if they're still viable.
It's my right to know where my daughter's stem cells are.
In a lawsuit filed against the CBC last month, the Cord Blood Bank of Canada says the samples of its approximately 3,000 clients were destroyed in 2018.
So this is the original.
But Callahan and others say they were never told, and some were still charged the annual fee the year after.
Makes me just think the whole thing was a scam. Were the samples ever really taken care of?
Bernardka Ellison is the company's owner. Ellison uses they-them pronouns. In the lawsuit against CBC, they claim all samples were destroyed at their lab in 2018. At the time, police executed a search warrant as part of an extortion investigation. In a separate lawsuit filed against Toronto police, Ellison says hundreds of samples were removed from cold storage, which can cause cord blood to degrade. Police have not yet filed a statement of defense. CBC News contacted Ellison to get answers and address clients' concerns. Ellison didn't directly respond to questions from CBC News, but in a series of emails, they did say they're gathering information for clients in good standing to join a class action lawsuit against police and others they allege destroyed the samples. CBC News first reported on the Cord Blood Bank of Canada 4 years ago when police opened an investigation after a client complaint and after Health Canada ruled the company wasn't in compliance with its standards. And since then, we've heard from more than 50 clients, all trying to get answers about their children's samples.
As parents, we don't do this because we have money to burn. We do this because we have the best interest of our children at heart.
A reassurance that's now in limbo. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's vaccine rollout has become the envy of the world, but not everyone is sharing in that enthusiasm.
Because some of this stuff is fairly new. You know, they say a typical vaccine takes 4 or 5 years, you know, before it's approved.
Up next, reaching out to those most hesitant in the drive to immunize Canada against COVID-19. Plus, these Olympic Games are being touted as the most gender balanced in history. But the reality for women competing is more complicated. And
is it efficient for me to boat off to New York for a night to have one meeting? Maybe not so much.
as pandemic restrictions lift, what does the new normal look like for business travel?
246,000 Californians are state employees. 246,000 Californians should be vaccinated.
Starting next week, state employees and some health workers in California will be required to get vaccinated or face at least weekly COVID tests. The news came hours after a similar announcement in New York City. The U.S. has been struggling to get people vaccinated while dealing with a surge in new infections driven by the Delta variant. Every day, Canada's vaccination rate climbs higher, but some people still hesitate to get their first shot for all sorts of reasons. Here's where we stand right now. More than 500,000 new doses were added to the total today. That means 80% of eligible Canadians have had at least one shot, and nearly 64% are fully vaccinated. To be clear, those numbers don't mean that everyone who hasn't received a first shot is avoiding it. Some still haven't had access. But tonight, Katie Nicholson looks into the core group that is truly wary of these vaccines and asks what it might take to convince them otherwise.
At 75, Frank D'Angelo was guaranteed a spot near the front of the line for a COVID vaccine, but he declined.
Some of this stuff is fairly new.
D'Angelo doesn't trust how quickly the new mRNA vaccines were developed and would prefer the more traditionally formulated Johnson & Johnson shot, which is approved for use in Canada but isn't on offer.
I know that the vaccine is the answer to mitigating this virus. No question about it, okay? The question is, which one do you pick?
D'Angelo is among a small number of holdouts, people who aren't anti-vaccine but remain hesitant.
We have to be really careful about lumping everybody into one box. There's actually this wide range of reasons why people are vaccine hesitant, and so we need a wide range of communications and other strategies to reach them.
Researchers say hesitancy is fueled by everything from a simple fear of needles to mistrust of big pharma, misinformation, or previous bad healthcare experiences. As the Delta variant fills hospitals in the U.S. in what the president calls a pandemic of the unvaccinated, Ontario's premier nudged the hesitant to talk to people they trust.
You might be hesitant. Think of your loved ones. Think of your children. Think of your parents.
Guilt, shame, even solid facts and shiny new campaigns, experts say, not guaranteed to change more suspicious hearts and minds.
I'm watching France right now, where they're coming down strong with vaccine requirements in order to enter restaurants and movie theaters and to work in healthcare. And so there in France, a lot of people went and got vaccinated.
No ultimatums here, and Frank D'Angelo is holding out for a J&J jab.
I just hope that the government here in Canada has enough sense to make this available.
Until then, it's a life of masking and social distancing. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
The Tokyo 2020 Olympics are being promoted as the most gender balanced yet. Up next, what the reality is for female athletes at these games and the challenges they're still facing. Welcome back. Day 5 of the Olympics is underway, and Canadians have already had a lot to cheer for. Andrew Chang takes a look ahead at the competitions to watch for and which athletes could pick up medals.
So a big X factor at the Olympics is always the degree to which success is contagious. We saw it catch fire at the last Summer Games when Canada's women's swim team just smashed expectation after expectation. By the 6th medal, it was almost considered the new normal. So let's see what inspiration the next women's diving duo can get. We saw Jennifer Abel and Melissa Citrini-Beaulieu score a silver in the 3-meter synchro event. By the time we wake up tomorrow, we'll know if Megan Benfito and her partner Kylie Masse can match the moment. They're competing in the 10-meter synchro event, and Megan, I mean, my gosh, what a veteran. Already has 3 bronze medals from Olympics past. Also someone who had a really rough ride in the run-up to the games. Her condo apartment burned down. I mean, she literally managed to escape with her coat and a scarf, but otherwise lost everything, even those bronze medals, which thankfully she was able to have recast and returned to her. So this is a team to watch. There's also weightlifting. Maud Charon of Rimouski, Quebec, a real medal contender in the 64-kilo weight class, and someone who is just fiercely proud of her roots. Most elite athletes train in big cities, right? More resources, better equipment, higher quality training. But a defining moment for her, many moons ago, she turned down a chance to train in Montreal because she wanted to stay and represent and be bolstered by her hometown, Rimouski, a population of only about 50,000. Finally, One last note, women's soccer. Canada against Great Britain. They are still in the prelim phase, and Canada is in a pretty good position to advance. But if you had to pick one team in Canada's pool that would give it the biggest run for its money, it would be Great Britain. Obviously, it's a team that is just stacked with players from a powerhouse part of the world in this sport. And it should give us a better sense of what this team, Canada, is capable of against a tougher opponent, one that they very well may face again later in the tournament if Canada makes a real medal run as it expects to. Almost makes you not want to go to bed at all. We'll have updates direct from Tokyo when we wake up.
Olympic organizers have been touting these Olympics as the most gender-balanced games ever, but equality and fairness continue to be an issue, as Briar Stewart shows us both at the Games and in the host country.
Annie Guglia's Olympic dream almost didn't happen.
I had so much fun. I can't believe we're the first skateboarders to skate the Olympics ever.
Guglia was a last-minute ad after another competitor caught COVID, but she got a chance to skateboard for Canada. In skateboarding, like the majority of events at these Olympics, there's an equal number of men and women competing.
Oh, man! For women!
It's all part of what organizers are calling a push toward gender equality at the Olympics.
Nearly 50% of the athletes in these games are women, and some of the competition schedule was rearranged so women's events can get maximum exposure. But off the field, some are questioning just how progressive these Olympics are.
The head of the Tokyo Olympics, Seiko Hashimoto, got the job this spring after her predecessor, a former prime minister of Japan, was criticized for saying women talk too much. He ended up resigning in part because of a campaign launched by a 22-year-old university student.
Many people don't know how to change.
Mamako Nojo started a petition called Don't Be Silent, which 150,000 people signed. I'm glad to know that so many different people were angry at his comment, she said. His words were one thing, but certain attitudes appear to run much deeper. The World Economic Forum has described Japan's gender gap as the widest among advanced economies. Traditional gender roles prevail. The few women who are in leadership know the issues well.
This is not just happening at Tokyo 2020. This is a major agenda that we need to address as a Japanese society.
But when it comes to sports themselves, there's still a ways to go.
Right now, I'm being forced to decide between being a breastfeeding mom or an Olympic athlete.
Consider that a few athletes had to plead with Olympic organizers to allow them to bring their babies to Tokyo so they could keep breastfeeding. As for skateboarding, the women were competing on the same course and with the same scoring system as the men.
The women's skateboarding is just growing so much, and the level is getting crazy and crazy every time.
Which is why the competitors are hopeful there will soon be more recognition for their sport and their skill. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Tokyo.
A historic day in Ottawa, and with the pomp, also some humor.
And Prime Minister, it means bossy little old lady.
Up next, we'll hear more from Canada's first Indigenous Governor General. Plus,
our team is fully vaccinated, and we felt that we could probably make our way and see how it went.
how will business travel bounce back after the pandemic?
My view is that reconciliation is a way of life and requires work every day. Reconciliation is getting to know one another.
And Canada's 30th Governor General pledged to get to know as many Canadians as she can. In her address, Mary Simon laid out a number of other priorities for her ceremonial role, from the environment to improving life for all Canadians and learning French. As we've mentioned, she is the first Indigenous person to represent the Crown in Canada, a woman with pride for her heritage and a sense of humor. Here's a little more of her address today for the record.
Ammalo inut suta inut winnau suta uhausivut ilokositinut pitut simallagitok ammalo teemangat inurusilang lauximagatta uvattinut sivumappaliagutir simayok. Today is an important and historic day for Canada, but my story to these chambers began very far from here. I was born Mary Jeannie May in Arctic Quebec, now known as Nunavik. My Inuk name is Inuk, and Prime Minister, it means bossy little old lady.
We mentioned the Governor General and her husband have now moved into Rideau Hall after it sat vacant for more than 3 years. The National Capital Commission spent about $40,000 on routine maintenance to get it ready for its new occupants. Each year, thousands of Canadian women undergo mastectomies, an experience shared by so many, yet for some, the treatment path can feel alienating. Tonight, we're revisiting a story we aired last year about a campaign to shed light on Black women's breast cancer experiences. Ioana Remiliotis has that story.
She has a loving family and a new puppy. But Michelle Audouin says, in the fight of her life, she's needed something more. She needed to be seen.
Seeing other women who look like me with scars like mine just would have helped to normalize the experience and make me feel more normal, part of a community. Very good.
Michelle's normal is a scary place. She was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer 3 years ago. After undergoing a double mastectomy, she opted for reconstructive surgery and ended up in a whole new battle.
I really wanted to see women that looked like me who've had a similar type of surgery and see their scars. And when I asked around, they all seemed to assume that it was easy to find. And then as they, looked for things, they realized that these images didn't exist.
And how did that make you feel?
It was really disheartening. It sent a message to me that my experience didn't matter.
Michelle knew she couldn't be the only one who felt invisible.
Being a Black woman with breast cancer has been a very lonely journey.
So she joined forces with a charity she was involved in to help create this.
We're important and we need to be recognized and represented.
Uncovered, a breast recognition project, a resource to give other Black women the chance to share their scars and their stories.
Leading up to it, there was a lot of sleepless nights for me, just a lot of apprehension about uncovering my body and my scars because I generally don't look at my body anymore. And I was really, really scared. But at the end of the shoot, there was just this expression of joy, relief. It was just the most beautiful thing, that everybody walked in with a similar experience and walked off feeling so much better about themselves.
It's really important to speak up.
It was empowering, and it filled a void that is now being recognized.
I think that's our responsibility to ensure that there's diversity and inclusion in the materials. And I think up until now, we have not done a good enough job.
Dr. Tony Zong is a plastic and reconstructive surgeon at the University Health Network in Toronto. She has done research on the diversity of the patients she helps, but acknowledges the material provided to them doesn't reflect them all. Michelle's project is a tough wake-up call.
Their outcome, their experience matter greatly to us. So to know that we could have done a better job, I think it's important. It's important for us to learn from these lessons.
The lessons also raise broader questions. It's not clear how breast cancer affects women of different backgrounds or what their outcomes are. Canada hasn't collected race-based health data, but is currently working on how to start.
I think in Canada we've traditionally seen ourselves as a colorblind society or as a place where racism doesn't exist. We have to recognize what our history is and what's been happening here, and being colorblind is actually not a safe approach.
Aisha Lofters is a doctor and researcher focusing on cancer screening and health equity issues. The Uncovered project, she says, speaks to a systemic lack of representation in healthcare and the need to address it.
You want to know that you're not alone, that you're not the only one, and you also want to know that the healthcare system sees you as who you are and that they don't view you as an other or as an oddity or as an exception. So to know that there's a specific effort made for people who look like you and who come from your experiences, your background represented, I think is really key.
The new pamphlets are being distributed to cancer care centers across the country.
You see a project like Uncover, what do you hope it starts?
I hope it starts a conversation like this one that we're having, right? The fact that we are here talking about specifically about Black women in healthcare in Canada is not a conversation that traditionally has happened. So I think it's amazing just from that point of view. This is just one of many conversations.
As for Michelle, one of the most powerful conversations she's had since was with her 13-year-old daughter.
The first time my daughter actually saw my scars was when I brought home a copy of the Breast Recognition Project. Her eyes lit up. She was just so touched. She thought it was just beautiful and really empowering, the stories that were shared, and she thought that I looked strong and beautiful, and that really meant the world to me.
Michelle is still fighting her cancer, but it helps knowing she's now part of the picture of what that looks like. Joanna Brumaliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
During the pandemic, corporate trips were largely replaced by virtual meetings.
There is really nothing like being in person with somebody.
Up next, as restrictions lift, what the future could hold for business travel. Welcome back. With COVID cases down and summer excitement up, holiday travel is taking off. But what about flying for work? During the pandemic, many companies embraced virtual events and online meetings. Diane Buckner looks at what it will take to get business class busy again.
Canadian executive Casey Siskind on her first business trip to the U.S. since the pandemic began.
Our team is fully vaccinated, and we felt that we could probably make our way and see how it went.
Here in Texas, you'd barely know there had ever been a global pandemic. Almost no masks in sight at the conference Siskind attended. Just lots of people eager to reconnect.
There is really nothing like being in person with somebody.
In Canada, virtual online gatherings are expected to be the norm at least till the end of the year.
Our friends down in the States are moving a little bit quicker.
But this conference planner says many organizations here and in the U.S. won't entirely give up the benefits that come with going virtual.
There's no such thing as sold out, right? So your 300-person event could now reach 5,000, 6,000 people if you wanted it to.
Virtual gatherings may be great in some ways, but they do next to nothing for local economies. Think of it. Business travelers are typically big spenders. They're on expense accounts, and that benefits hotels, restaurants, taxis, airlines, and more. Airlines count on those expensive business class tickets in a big way.
Business travel for some airlines comprises 50 to 75% of profits.
So will regular consumers have to pay more? This specialist on the airline industry says that's not so simple.
The airline industry is incredibly competitive, and it's very difficult for airlines to raise fares.
Many say the approach to corporate travel has likely changed for good.
Is it efficient for us to go to a conference? Yes. We're going to see hundreds of people. It's going to make sense for us to be there. Is it efficient for me to boat off to New York for a night to have one meeting? Maybe not so much.
Even a partial recovery in this sector will depend on how confident people are about staying safe from COVID. Diane Buckner, CBC News, Toronto.
Up next, weeks after the Lytton fires, a reunion. After almost all hope had been lost, how one family finally found their four-legged friend. Next, in our moment. It has been almost 4 weeks since wildfires ravaged the small town of Lytton, BC, and for many people, their lives are just beginning to be rebuilt. For one BC family, things now feel a little easier after a joyful reunion with a pet they thought they'd never see again. And tonight, it's our moment.
She's been missing for 23 days. Keeping in contact with the firefighters and the security people and asking them to keep an eye out for her from day one. And we went up to the checkpoint every day for the first 10 days, and after that was every other day. And as the days grew longer, we thought we'd lost all hope, but we managed to keep our hopes high. And very fortunately, our neighbor was allowed to go back to their house to pick up a few things. And as soon as they opened up their side door, they left it open just a crack. And that's how she managed to get back in and out of the house. Grateful for our neighbors, for the firefighters, for the people that are working, the security. It's just they were bending over backwards just to keep an eye out for. Our family's complete now. We feel complete. All of our house is gone. We can rebuild, and we're just taking it day by day right now, and it makes it a lot easier with our little fur baby here. She was crying more than I was, I think, but I was crying for happiness too for her because it's so good feeling to have her back again.
I'll bet you a lot of pet owners across the country who have been in communities that have been evacuated relate to that story. I think was it last night that police in one place in Eastern Canada were looking out for pets after people who lived in the community had to leave quickly. So Lytton especially, a lot of people only had 20 minutes, 15 minutes warning to head out, left their pets behind, and at least one joyful reunion. That is the National for July 26th. Good night.